Well, good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. I'd like to thank Minister Lecce for inviting me to be part of today's exciting announcement. It's really wonderful to be here with all of you, and especially with Agnico Eagle, a great Canadian company and a true leader in our resource sector. And it's great to be here at George Brown, that sits on a waterfront that not very long ago was empty industrial land, and is now one of the most dynamic economic zones in Ontario. It's a fitting place for today's announcement. It's itself an example of what long-term, deliberate investment can build. Economies, just like places, become what we decide to make of them. And we are building the Ontario that we want and that what we need, a competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy. We are doing so deliberately and for the long term. That is the spirit of today's announcement. Nearly 40 years ago, my father signed the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement, and later, NAFTA, because he understood that economic integration means prosperity for Canadians and Americans alike. That framework created tremendous growth on both sides of our border for decades. Today, that framework is being tested. The forces reshaping the global economy are visible on every front. Critical minerals are no longer a quiet, technical sector. They are now a question of national security in every G7 capital. Artificial intelligence is rewriting demand for the very resources that power it. And investors are looking more carefully and selectively at where to place their capital. In my role as President of the Treasury Board of Ontario, I meet regularly with businesses across our province and in the United States as well. The message I hear is always the same. Businesses want stability. They want predictability. They want to know that the rules that they invested under last year will be the rules that govern them next year. And that is exactly what our government has been working to deliver. But we did not start this work because of tariffs. We started it in 2018 when we were first elected, when Premier Ford declared Ontario open for business. We did that because stability and predictability have always been the right foundation for business and for the families and the communities that depend on it. And in this moment, that approach matters more than ever. Notre gouvernement n'a pas entrepris ce travail à cause des tarifs douaniers. Nous l'avons entrepris en 2018 lorsque le Premier ministre Ford a déclaré l'Ontario ouverte aux affaires. Nous l'avons fait parce que la stabilité et la prévisibilité ont toujours été le bon fondement pour les entreprises et pour les familles et les communautés qui en dépendent. Et dans une économie mondiale aujourd'hui mise à l'épreuve, cette approche compte plus que jamais. Since 2018, we've lowered taxes. We've cut red tape. On internal free trade, Premier Ford and Ontario have led the Federation, signing agreements with every province and territory in this country. We've invested in our people, more than 86,000 STEM graduates every year, and we're adding more than 20,000 new post-secondary seats every year to keep that talent pipeline growing. We've modernized our permitting process through One Project, One Process to cut review times in significant ways. And we are making the investments that are necessary to unlock the Ring of Fire. Since 2019, Ontario has attracted $222 billion in private investment in life sciences and auto manufacturing, in AI, and now, increasingly, in the critical mineral wealth beneath the Canadian shield. We've created over 1 million net new jobs in 8 years. And our mining sector, with 28,000 direct and 46,000 indirect jobs, generated $13 billion worth of minerals in 2024 and made Ontario, once again, Canada's top mineral-producing province. Our government is making Ontario the most attractive and competitive place for crucial private investment that will secure prosperity for Ontarians for generations. And that's why I am so happy to be standing here today. None of this happened by accident. It is the result of 8 years of disciplined, focused work, and there is much more to come. Now it is my great pleasure to turn it over to my friend, Minister Stephen Lecce, a man of great energy and conviction, but above all, a dedication to making Ontario a mineral and an energy superpower that will secure the future of this province for generations to come. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Thank you all. It is a great honor to be with you today. Thank you, George Brown, for being a wonderful host, for being so committed to the cause of the next generation of skilled workers and talented young people. And I want to thank the young people with us today. I'm not sure you knew what you were signing up for this morning, but we're going to keep this tight. And thank you all to the partners who are with us, with a warm shout out to the team of Agnico Eagle. Today, in government, we often talk about doing big things. Politicians are often challenged to move with speed in the moment. And sometimes this is rhetoric of politicians, or it could be the realization of your government. And our Premier gave Minister Mulroney and myself and our entire cabinet a mandate to move with unprecedented speed, to be relentless in our conviction, to unearth, to unleash the most ethical resources on earth, to stand up for our workers, for our sovereignty, for Canada's self-reliance. And it starts here today, as we announce an important demonstration of confidence in our economy, in our permitting regime, in this government, that yes, as Minister Mulroney said, is working together for the cause of Canada. Now, before we get into the substance of this discussion, I want to welcome a few honored guests with us. But first, let me just say, Minister Mulroney, who has been an amazing champion of the cause of keeping every ministry, every department, every minister accountable to this enterprise-wide vision of speed, of reduction of permits, of the end of duplication, of internal collaboration to get things done, to get to yes. So I'm very grateful to Caroline for her relentless pursuit, the hammer she uses at the cabinet table to ensure we do better for the benefit of Canada. I also want to thank Amar Al-Jundi, this president and CEO of Agnico Eagle, for today, your presence, your leadership, and your commitment to the cause of Ontario. I want to also thank the president of George Brown University, Dr. Farron. Thank you so much, sir, for your welcome and, more importantly, the leadership you provide to the next generation of skilled workers. Alex Greco from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Good to see you, sir. An old friend of many years, Ian Howcroft, who's with us from Skills Ontario, another case study of partnership as we build the skilled worker and we ultimately get young people excited about the cause of excuse me, I'm just so overwhelmed. It's just yes, I'm very much overwhelmed by this, but Ian, thank you. Many years in the education ministry working together and getting young boys and girls excited about the cause of the skilled workers and the skilled trades. We are at a critical moment in our country. We see risk, we see disruption, we see the rise of authoritarianism in the world. And nations that are industrialized, democracies, are looking for reliability, they're looking for certainty, they're looking for those that share the same fundamental values. And this province and this country stands alone as the most ethical, the most expeditious, if the most hawkish government determined to challenge the status quo. And as you know, as Minister Mulroney said, our government and our Premier made a commitment to cut the red tape by 50%, to emerge as one of the fastest permitting regimes in the industrialized world. We started as the second slowest in the OECD, a benchmark no Canadian should be proud of. And after relentlessly pursuing a reform agenda, and standing up for our resources and workers, we've now After implementing a suite of permit reductions, we're now number 2 on earth and number 1 in Canada for the first time. And that is a reflection of the hard work of the Government of Ontario working together to ensure we move faster and we deliver for our miners, for our workers, and for Canada's economy. Today, we are committing to going further, not just unveiling a landmark investment by a Canadian mining company, but we are committing ourselves to not in any way to be complacent. Yes, we may have emerged as second best on earth for mining investment, number 1 in Canada, but our Premier's commitment today is to bring forth an additional suite of legislative reforms, a serious package to help accelerate the early exploration, the advanced exploration, and the expansions of existing mines in the province so that we demonstrate at every point of the storyline of our mining investments in Ontario that we can do better and we can move faster. But today is not about our fall agenda. It's about the commitments we've made to get us to this place. And I'm very proud of the fact that after reforming and seriously upending the permitting systems of Ontario and giving some sense of certainty and imposing timelines so that investors know when they put $1 in this province, they are going to get to yes. And so today, to help make the case of public confidence, of global confidence in this ethical democracy, to make underscore the commitment that private sector capital has in our government in this province. I'm very honored that Agnico Eagle has announced a planned investment of $14 billion. This will represent, for a Canadian mining company, one of the largest to date in our province's history, to expand an existing mine and to open a new mine in the province of Ontario. And that is a huge achievement for all Ontarians. A project that represents as an aggregate 1,600 net new jobs for a family, 1,600 opportunities for a young person out there looking for a job for life. And we are grateful. We are grateful for the investment, but we are committed to building further confidence so that there is an additional, there are new investments from other companies down the road. Agnico Eagle is the gold standard, no pun intended. This is the second largest gold company on earth, the largest in this country. They're on track to be number 1 in the world with prolific access to resources, the best standards of ethics, and a company that has and embraces values of Canada. And so it's a great honor to share the stage with them today. A company that employs First Nations, that works deeply committed to the cause of partnership, and a company that I believe is the envy of the world. And so Agnico Eagle, what this $14 billion planned investment represents is hope for our economy and a message that we can do big things at scale. We can move with speed, we can unlock resources responsibly, and we can help lift our economy and our sovereignty together. So thank you to the company, to the investors, and to all the partners, communities, and First Nations for your amazing collaboration and your partnership today. And will you welcome the man with the $14 billion plan, the President and CEO of Agnico Eagle, Ammar Al-Jundi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Well, that's 2 speeches that are going to be pretty hard to keep up with. Before I jump in, I'd like to thank Minister Mulroney and Minister Lecce, not just for what they've done, but for their commitment to Canada and their commitment to Ontario. These are 2 exceptional people who are, frankly, committing their careers to helping Canada and to helping Ontario. So it's wonderful as a Canadian and an Ontarian to have people of your caliber and the roles you are. So maybe we'll just start with a quick round of applause for the 2 ministers. So Agnico Eagle is the 2nd largest gold producer in the world, and Ontario is an incredibly important part of that, accounting for over 30% of our global production. And mining is an incredibly important contributor to Ontario, especially Northern Ontario, where it represents one of the largest economic contributors to local communities and represents one of the largest employers to Indigenous communities. In 2025 alone, just one company, Agnico Eagle, contributed to over $5 billion to local economies, providing 4,100 high-quality jobs with salaries double the provincial average. We spent over $2 billion in local goods and services, including over $625 million with local Indigenous-owned businesses. This is one company of many in the mining space in Ontario. This is a big and important industry. These investments reflect the strength of this province's mining sector, our workforce, our infrastructure, our communities, and importantly, and the key message today, is that these long-term, significant, and very important investments in Ontario also reflect, as Minister Lecce said, the confidence we have in Ontario and this team as a stable, competitive, and globally significant mining jurisdiction. Today's announcement is an important reflection of our confidence in Ontario and our confidence, again, in this government. Through our operating mines, our development projects, our exploration activities, Agnico Eagle expects to spend and invest approximately $14 billion in Ontario over the next 5 years. This includes approximately $12 billion across our operating, development, and exploration assets, along with, as the minister said, another $2 billion tied to the Detour Lake Underground and Upper Beaver growth projects. Together, these projects have the potential to support an additional roughly 1,500 jobs, bringing our employment number in Ontario to over 5,500 highly skilled, highly paid workers. Mining investments are long-term by nature. Projects of this scale absolutely require stability, predictability, collaboration, and strong partnerships between industry, government, Indigenous communities, and local stakeholders. Mining is also a global business. Companies like Agnico Eagle can make investments anywhere in the world. We've chosen to be in Ontario for almost 70 years now and chosen to invest heavily and to continue to invest heavily in this province because we know Ontario is a place we can make long-term investments. We appreciate the province's continued, and I would say accelerated, work to focus on maintaining a competitive environment for responsible mining development. And I'd like to personally thank Minister Lecce and his team for their hard work to keep Ontario as an attractive place to invest. Efforts to improve permitting efficiency and regulatory coordination are absolutely essential to ensuring Ontario remains globally competitive for future investment, especially in today's competitive and aggressive economic environment where jurisdictions are doing all they can. They're doing all they can to be more competitive and bring jobs and economic advantage to their regions. And that is, to be clear, what Minister Lecce and Minister Mulroney are doing. They are helping create economic opportunity for Ontarians and the next generation of young kids. And it's great to be at George Brown. I mean, this is an institution to help young people figure out what they're going to be doing in their life, and their economic prospects are an important part of that. So this work is important. Of course, at the same time, it all depends on responsible development, and we must continue to include strong environmental oversight and meaningful Indigenous consultations. Those principles are fundamental to how Agnico Eagle operates. We're proud of our contributions to local communities, some of which we've been in for almost 70 years. We're proud of the relationships we continue to build with Indigenous communities and organizations across Ontario. These partnerships are essential to the long-term success and sustainability of our operations and future projects. Beyond the investment figures themselves, this announcement is ultimately about people and long-term opportunity. It's about creating lasting value for communities, for workers, for businesses, and again, most importantly, for future generations across Ontario. Ontario continues to demonstrate that it can compete globally for responsible mining investment, and Agnico Eagle is proud to continue working with this government and to continue investing in that future. Thank you very much.
Bonjour à tous. Merci. Thank you. On behalf of Chambers of Commerce and Boards of Trade across Ontario and Canada, this historic announcement deserves to be applauded. To Minister Lecce, thank you for inviting the Canadian Chamber and the Ontario Chamber to be here. And thank you for your leadership and pushing for energy and economic security at this critical moment in history. And thank you for welcoming us here, Minister Mulroney. Your work strengthening Ontario's economy is vital. And I'm so pleased to stand beside today the Ontario Chamber of Commerce's Vice President of Public Affairs, Julie Martini. The Ontario Chamber of Commerce has been such a critical partner for us. They bring the business community together to collaborate with this provincial government day after day. Thank you. Now, we as Chambers of Commerce and Boards of Trade, we wake up every morning thinking about the state of our economy. Business confidence has been down nationally for 7 consecutive quarters. Too often today, businesses and investors are stuck on the sidelines. But when our economy grows, services get better and our communities become more vibrant. We need businesses to have the agency to act, to succeed, and to create a better life for all. And that brings us to a truly Canadian company, a company that got its start right here in Ontario. We are so proud to see this massive announcement by our member, Agnico Eagle. Agnico is an authentically Canadian company that is stepping up for all of us. These 5,600 jobs will put food on the table for families, put kids through school, and put Ontario further on the map globally. And so let me simply say, congratulations. The Canadian Chamber, the Ontario Chamber are behind you all the way. Thank you for having us, and it's my pleasure to invite the CEO of Skills Ontario, Ian Calcroft, to the stage.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very pleased to be here this morning to represent Skills Ontario in celebrating Agnico Eagle's announced investment in Ontario's mining sector. This is wonderful news for the province and for the future workforce. I'd also like to thank Agnico Eagle for the support it provides to Skills Ontario as one of our key partners. This support helps us to deliver impactful and relevant programming. Skills Ontario promotes skilled trades and technology careers, or as we like to say, we're changing lives and developing leaders through skilled trades and technology. We deliver experiential programming around the province to open eyes, to open minds, and to open doors for young people, with a special focus on young women and Indigenous youth. Also, I want to recognize the provincial government. We cannot do what we do without the support and contribution we get from Ontario. In all my years in public policy, I've never seen or experienced a government like the current Ontario government that has recognized the importance of skilled trades and has made the investments to make real changes which deliver skill solutions and skill successes. We look forward to building on this partnership and realizing more success to help young people create futures and build Ontario's economy. Thank you, ministers, for your work, your support, and the commitment to the skilled trades and Skills Ontario. They're very much appreciated, and it's paying real dividends. Thank you again to Agnico Eagle for their confidence, commitment, and investment in the province, helping to ensure a future that's prosperous and open to all. And finally, I'd just like to thank George Brown College for hosting today's event, another key partner for Skills Ontario. Thank you all, and we enjoyed being here today. Thank you.